Hi everybody, my name is Claudette and I'm here. I'm really starting a channel because I'm not really sure where this is going to go, if there's interest from other folks. But basically I see a lot of video content creators and they have obviously different topics. I follow quite a few of them. Some of them are interesting to me, some of them are not. And they a lot of times focus on one certain topic or focus area. However, for me, I don't really have that because I have a whole lot of things that I've learned over the years. As you see, I have a little bit of age since I have this gray here. I'm not really sure if I want to continue going natural or color it or just figure out what happens on the day that I'm on, if I want to color it or not. But let me know, what do you think about this gray that's coming through? Do you think it's something that I should keep naturally, or do you think I should go ahead and color it? But anyway, so I wanted to start this channel, and the fact is, like, I have so many things that I've learned over my life, and people I've talked to, they're like, oh, you should write a book. And I was thinking about it, I was like, well, I don't know how many people really read books as much nowadays. And I think more people sort of gravitate towards video content. So I figured if I go ahead and start it this way, we'll see if anything's even interesting to anyone. And then, obviously I could maybe think about at some point writing a book. I have started books in the past, just more fictional, but nothing really, autobiographical. And that's not even really world. You see, I'm messing up and I'm not perfect. And that's another thing. I mean, in the past, I remember seeing, you have all these celebrities and the people that show themselves and they just show their perfect life. And I am not perfect. And sometimes I mess up and I say, and I have panic attacks when I'm in, large crowds and I'm doing these presentations. So I want to really just show what real life is all about, right? And what I've learned over the time, what I'm still learning, what I'm trying to figure out for my life, my family's life as well. But some of the things I just want to tell you a little bit about me is, number one, I'm biracial. And there's a lot of things that go into that and things that people may have not known. They do know, they want to know. So, that is one area of my life that I've lived with. And I can tell you, for many, many years, I did not have any type of, I guess, prejudice towards me as far as being biracial until I actually moved back to the mainland or the continental US. And if you're wondering why I'm talking about moving back to the mainland, is basically I've lived across the world in different places because I was a military brat. And that there is a whole nother topic area I could talk about, the impacts of it, what I didn't like back then, but what I love now that I went through that experience. So I could talk about those things. Also about being a teenage mom. I actually had my first child at 17. And with that being the case, fortunately, I was able to graduate high school on time. I did end up going through and getting in, as you can see, I have multiple, degrees and diplomas and, certifications and things like that. But really starting off with being a teenage mom and being in poverty and leading up into the middle class side of things, that's something obviously that might be of interest to people as well. I am looking at some notes here. So if you see my eyes darting down, it's just some things that I wanted to make sure I captured, so that you can kind of see where I'm coming from and things that I plan to talk about if you see anything or hear anything that's of interest. The other thing is growing up and being a sibling of a person with different capabilities and how that was. Obviously, when I was growing up, society was different. I think they were less tolerant than what they are now, but what that was impacting me back then versus how I think about things now. Being a divorcee and having a time period where I was being a single parent and the struggles that I had there, to meeting my current husband and how things are now. And a lot of that was really just going from, that being that teenage mom, getting married very young with my first husband, and just traveling, not really traveling, but continuing on through my life to where I am right now. Basically leaving my family and basically it's an adventure, really. I had my children, being a single parent. I found a new job. I decided to move from the private sector, paying much more money than going into the government sector. But the reasons why I did that, why I moved myself and my children away from my family, and just the hardships and the struggles with that, and then just having my family come and reunite with me where I ended up moving to, which was really cool too. Also, just being a employee versus a business owner. I do have a few different businesses, and just really looking at the differences in that, and what I would say yesterday when I was younger till today that I'm a little bit older, things to consider that may be of interest to you, especially if you're younger and you're considering being your own business, owning your own business and being a business owner there. Also some things about, not really following the norm, I would say. Like, there's a lot of things that you see in society today, in media today, and I want to say that I probably have my own mindset. There are some things, obviously, that, I think everybody sort of follows with society, but then there's other things that, I feel like I'm a little bit different. And I think it's because of some of the experiences I've had in regards to being, living in different places, traveling different places, and seeing different cultures. So I think I think a little bit different than a lot of people that I know, but that's something I would like to share with you guys as well. I also am raising one of my grandchildren. So talking about the difference between raising children and grandchildren, the ways that I do things now versus what I did things then, just things that's regarding raising children overall. So I like to travel. I do sell travel as well. So I want to take you on some of my travel adventures, because as I talk about, I was in poverty when I was younger, and then obviously moved up into middle class society. And when I was younger, I was like, I can't afford any type of trips. But there's things that I didn't know back then that I know now that I want to share with everybody as well, because I don't think it really matters what budget you have. You can do travel at some particular level. So I want to share that with people, whether you want to do luxury travel, or if you really don't have a lot of money, maybe you have children and you can't spend much, the things that you can do as well. I also want to talk about some of the impacts I think society puts on people. So you can see that I'm a little bit of a thicker person. When I was younger, I was really skinny, and I will tell you, my mindset was totally different, very judgmental about bigger people. And I can tell you right now, me being a bigger person now, I have more confidence than when I was skinny. And when I mean I was skinny, I was skinny. So I would just want to talk about that and how that kind of plays on our mental psyche. And as our young people are growing up, hoping that, and I see a lot of mental illness here in the United States. So I think society brings a lot of that on, and I would like to talk about that as well. So I have tons to talk about. I don't have any particular focus area. Another area that might be of interest is I love to garden. I'm not the best gardener, and I'm not going to say I'm out there every single day, because right now I have weeds out there. It is getting to the end of the season, but I do like to garden, and I'm learning more and more. And as I learn more of what's being put into our food that we purchase, I want to kind of go away from that, make sure I have more natural things that are in the food that I serve to my family. So if I garden, then obviously that's more natural. I know what I'm putting into my body, my family's body. I'm also starting getting into foraging, which I think is really interesting, and I think it's a lost skill. And I really want to talk about that. I think that is really interesting, because just recently this year, I found all these medicinal and edible items on my property that are native to this area, which I had absolutely no idea. So I want to talk about that. I really want to get more into foraging and learning about that, because I figured if we know how to forage, we don't always have to rely on going to the store to purchase things. Now, I will tell you, truth be told, I do live out in the country, so If you're in the suburb area or if you're in an urban area, then obviously you may not have land, but maybe if you have a balcony, or what I'm planning on doing, I'm looking at things a little bit differently. I used to love to have, like, the pothos and the spider plants and the monsteras and things like that. But I think in my home, I want to have more beneficial plants, not just the air, part of it is saying, cleaner air purifies the air with having plants, but more of the fact of, can I grow edible plants? So I do have a couple of hydroponic systems, but I also want to try some other things as well, just to have edible plants throughout my house that, number one, is purifying the air, it's looking beautiful, but also is going to benefit me in an edible way or medicinal way. So I definitely want to talk about that with the foraging and the gardening, both indoors and outdoors. And then that also goes into some of the things about my food choices as well. And I do eat mostly plant-based, but I'm not vegan. I'm not gonna say vegetarian, because there are times that if I feel like I do want to have some type of animal product, then I'll do that. But based off of my research and what I've learned, definitely believe that the whole plant-based food choices are better for our bodies, but I do like to splurge a little bit as well. So that kind of goes into the things that I've learned, why I've chosen to do more gardening. I want to do more canning, or at least preserving in other ways, for my family to have more beneficial, more, I would say, more healthy food choices that we can go ahead and eat. So I know I'm supposed to say, go ahead and, hit that subscribe button, go ahead and click on the bell so that you can get notices. I don't know how often I'm going to post. I kind of want to see where, this goes, if anybody picks up these videos, if they're interested in any of these topics. If you are interested in any of the things I've mentioned so far, go ahead and put them in the comments. I will say, I definitely want anybody that's going to be on here to go ahead and comment kindly, whether based off of what I'm talking about, whether it's somebody who's commented. Please go ahead and be kind. I think it all starts with kindness. And when you go ahead and share your kindness, then others can share theirs too. So anyway, I hope this is interesting. I hope I'll see you guys again, because I have a lot I'd love to share with you. And not only me sharing with you, but with the social media, I can also see what you guys are sharing with me in the comments. So go ahead and put those items in the comments, what you'd like to hear about first, and then I'll go ahead and try to tackle those videos to give you some more information about what I've learned over the life that I've led so far. So again, I hope to see you soon. Bye.